Welcome everyone to the Credulous Nerds Daily Podcast. My name is Justin, and today is March 26th, 2018. And today I wanted to talk about the latest season of The X-Files, and that is season 11. This season started in January of 2018 and is a shorter season than what we're used to with The X-Files. It's a 10-episode season. Last season, season 10, was shorter as well, and I think that was only 6 episodes, if I remember correctly. But typically, in the past, historically, The X-Files was a full, 20 to 24 episode season. But with the revival of The X-Files with Mulder and Scully, they've only been doing these short seasons, which kind of tends to be the thing to do lately with various franchises. I know a lot of the seasons on Netflix are shorter, 10, 13 episodes. And I think it's just due to, trying to cut costs, be more efficient with what they have available to present to us. But I, for one, don't mind it as long as, it goes somewhere. And I think with this season 11 of The X-Files, there was only 2 episodes, the first and the last one, that dealt with kind of the ongoing mythology that The X-Files is known for, such as alien invasion, super soldiers, alien DNA, their son, Mulder and Scully's son, William, and, the cigarette smoking man, all of that. There's only those 2 episodes. The rest were kind of monster of the week type, mystery type episodes where at the beginning of the episode there's a murder or some strange event, and they take, the duration of the episode to solve it, to figure out what's going on. So there was 8 of those, and they were pretty entertaining. I was interested when they announced this new revival of The X-Files with season 10 and this current season, how they would integrate it into, the modern day world that we live in with better technology, social media, things like that. And I think they've integrated those things very well into these newer episodes. With this season, there was an episode where Mulder and Scully end up ordering some sushi from a all-automated sushi restaurant, and there wasn't anybody else in the restaurant, no one cooking, no one serving. It was all robots and computers. You place your order on the pad in front of you, and then the automated chefs in the back, cook up the sushi, prepare it, I guess, and then serve it to them. And so, there was some technological advances in the shows. I remember, watching in the first couple seasons, technology was limited, because that was the world they lived in at that time in the mid-90s. I came into The X-Files probably a couple years in, 96, I believe it was, when I first started watching it. And I would watch these older episodes, and especially, in the 2000s, I think it was mid-2000s, I sat down, watched season 1, episode 1, the pilot, all the way through to the end of season 9, the last episode, and did it in a few months. But I remember watching these early episodes in season 1, and I was thinking, well, if they had a cell phone, they could have, that problem would have presented itself, or they would have been able to catch the killer with, this type of technology, or, if they had, this, they could do that type thing. And so it's interesting to see how much The X-Files has changed, just as much as our own world has changed. So I'm glad that they're able to integrate, technology into their investigatory work and the stories and everything. There was one episode, it was the second episode, called This, where, the smoking gunmen who were a big part of the X-Files during its run, they had a couple characters who were kind of nerd. There was 3 of them. They were pretty nerdy, and they brought one of them back in kind of a AI type format because these lone gunmen had been killed off in their regular series run. And so they brought one of them back, Langley, and he was an AI, and he was trying to warn Mulder and Scully about some secret government agency that was, using computers to try and take over the world. So, there's still a lot of story that they were able to use that bring back, some of the old actors and characters in creative ways. So that was fun to watch. Little cheesy in parts with this one, but that's kind of the X-Files. There's some cheesy parts every once in a while, but a lot of good mysteries, a lot of good solving of crimes. Probably my favorite episode of this new season was called The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat, and kind of a odd title, but definitely hilarious. I had a lot of fun watching this one. It kind of shows how the X-Files may have originated. I don't think they really were definitively said, but very entertaining. So I encourage you guys to watch that one if you are going to watch this series. The way it starts out in season 10 and season 11, they have this ongoing storyline called, it started with My Struggle in season 10. This was the first episode. And then the last episode of season 10 was called My Struggle 2. And then this season 11, started off with its first episode called My Struggle 3. And then it ended with My Struggle 4. And this ongoing storyline in season 10 and 11 is how Mulder and Scully are trying to find their lost son, William. If you remember correctly, in the original run of the X-Files, Mulder and Scully had a baby, and they ended up giving this baby up for adoption because they didn't want to involve him in all the craziness that was going on with their lives, and he had a bit of alien DNA in his system, so they were worried the government would come and try to kidnap him and use him for their nefarious plans. So they ended up adopting the child out to someone who they didn't even want to know their name. So back, fast forward to season 10, and they pick up that storyline. They're able to try and find out what's going on with William. They find out where he's at. In season 11, they end up locating where William is living, and they go to this adoptive parent's home, and he has been living there. There's an episode called Ghoulie, where William has manifested some sort of psychic power, or is able to use his alien DNA to project himself differently, and so he pretends to be a monster to scare people and ends up hurting 2 teenage girls. So Mulder and Scully go out and investigate, that situation, and then that kind of carries over into the last episode of this season. And we kind of see also in this season where in the second to last episode, Nothing Lasts Forever, that it's very religious-based and science-based. With Mulder and Scully, there's always an aspect of religious overtones. Scully is the scientist, but at the same time she has a deep faith, and so that kind of is played out in this episode. And at the end, they kind of realize that things are coming to an end, and Scully decides that she wants to be with him, and they finally move that direction. We don't see anything specific, but they just kind of hint and let us think that they're going to finally get together. We saw a little bit of that in one of the feature-length films The second one, I Want to Believe, where they revealed that they were living together at one point, but then they separated because Mulder was obsessed with, finding his lost sister, even though it kind of showed in the seasons that, the original seasons, that she had died. But he was still obsessed with UFOs and that type of thing, and so she couldn't handle it anymore, so she left him. But they still had a relationship. And this episode, Nothing Lasts Forever, kind of wraps up a little bit of that. And also that carries over into this last episode where Mulder and Scully realize that the smoking man is still, a heavy player in this, and that he's manipulating things. And we find out that, at least it's alleged by the cigarette smoking man, that he's the father of William. And so he tells Skinner this, and then Skinner tells Scully, and then Scully tells Mulder at the end. So I don't know how true that is, but that's the storyline that we're left with as this season wraps up. And as a result, Mulder ends up killing the smoking man, or they shooting him several times in the chest, and he falls in the river and isn't moving. So we're assuming that he's dead, but we kind of were led to believe that in the regular run of the seasons. So, who knows if that's the case or not. But as far as we know, as far as we're led to believe, that the cigarette smoking man is dead finally, and Mulder shot him. But towards the end, the kind of one of the last scenes is Mulder and Scully are embracing, and Scully reveals to Fox, that she's pregnant again. And even though that's impossible, it's true, and that Fox would be the father. So they kind of left it at that. And also the final scene of this season was a shot of William rising from the water. And William was thought to have been shot in the head, but he rises from the water, and he has a gunshot wound in his head, but due to his powers, seems like he's able to withstand that. So who knows where they're going to go with that, if anywhere, because it's not definitive if they're going to do a season 12. So a lot of mystery with this season. I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat was a good episode. Ghoulie was all right. Kitten was good. Familiar was just outright creepy. There's deals with this creepy child's TV show character hunting down or abducting kids and killing them. So pretty brutal, but scary at the same time. That was a good one. And then the My Struggle storyline wraps up at the end of this season. Overall, I think these last two seasons have been pretty good. I would probably give them a 7 for overall, maybe 7.5. Enjoyed watching them, but I still felt like at the end of this season, I still felt like it didn't go anywhere, in the sense that it wrapped up Mulder and Scully's overall storyline, which I don't think we need to have a pretty bow on the top, but we would like, at least I would like, some definitive answers on what's going on. And I think they should continue the X-Files. I think they have an opportunity to reboot it with today's, technology, and you can go in a whole new direction. You don't necessarily have to go with the aliens as much. I think you can pick up another conspiracy theory or, crazy, odd things that go bump in the night. You can definitely look at those as X-Files. But I think Mulder and Scully's run is coming to a close. I think one more season like this, short season, 6 episodes, I think that's the max. And then they should transition to new FBI agents. I liked how in the last season and the first episode of this season, they included Agent Einstein and Agent Miller. I thought they were good. I mean, they're not Mulder and Scully, obviously, and I think that was the biggest complaint with them. is a lot of fans freaked out. We're like, well, these guys ain't the same as Mulder and Scully. There'll never be another Mulder and Scully. These guys suck, blah, blah, blah. And that's definitely the case. There never will be another Mulder and Scully. But, they're getting old, and they addressed it in this season. How much longer do we want to see Fox running through the woods? I mean, he can't do it very much longer. He's going to have a cane or something, but you got to move on. You got to transition into something new. And I think if they were to use Agent Einstein and Agent Miller, they're great actors. They got their own personalities. They're different, which some people didn't like. I liked personally. I think they should bring these two actors back and do a new season and just kind of see how it plays out. Go for it. It's been said that on social media that Gillian Anderson is done with the X-Files, that this was her last episode or last season. I think if they were to come up with a good storyline to wrap up her story arc, her character arc, and just do another episode or two with her, having a baby, riding off into the sunset, settling down, and just, end it, I think she'd be willing to do that as long as it was just an episode or two. But it doesn't sound like she's going to be back for another season. So you got to do something if you want to keep going with the X-Files. I think there's still a lot of good things to mine, a lot of good story to use. So, give it a try with these new agents, see what happens. But, that's season 11 of the X-Files. Came out in, like I said, January, and just wrapped up the end of March. There was the Olympics in February, so they went on a hiatus. But, there's only 10 episodes, so give it a try. Pick up season 10 if you haven't watched it. It's on Netflix, I believe, or Hulu, but it's only 6 episodes, and then this one's 10, so very short, a lot of good story. So check out the X-Files. Let us know what you think. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/credulousnerds. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think of the X-Files. So thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks.